Howdy, my name is Cooper Mace. Um, my podcast is called Cooper's Tackle Time. But today's episode specifically is going to be called Smart Water, Smart Fish. Um, I will explore how smart agricultural technologies are changing bass fishing and aquatic ecosystems. So a little bit about me is I've grown up my whole life bass fishing. My dad competitively bass fished. And it's something that I've done ever since I was a little kid, kind of starting around middle school when you figure out what you like to do in life, or, some people figure it out later, but for me, it was middle school. I figured out that I loved bass fishing. So ever since middle school, I started competitively bass fishing, did it all the way through high school and into college, and ended up fishing for Texas A&M, which, if you didn't know, is one of the best programs in the country, and it is definitely number one in the state. So I competitively bass fish for Texas A&M. I've gone all over the country to do it, and it's my passion. So I know most about bass fishing, and it's the thing that I can talk best about. So, kind of going back to what we were talking about with bass fishing, is we have something called smart agriculture. And smart agriculture in itself is the use of technology, data, innovation to improve how food, water, land, and natural resources are managed. So, a couple examples of what smart agriculture would look like, or tools, more per se, for smart agriculture is going to be sensors, artificial intelligence, data modeling, precision management, and environmental monitoring. And there's plenty more examples. Those are just kind of some generic ones. So, a connection to smart agriculture to fishing is smart agriculture is not just crops. Like, it's not just growing crops or producing livestock. It's also has to do with water management and keeping our water resources and ecosystems cleaned. Water in general is a extremely, if not the most important part of life, and so it's extremely important that we take care of it. As I mentioned before, healthy water equals healthy fish. Smart water, smart fish. As a bass fisherman, I've seen how much water condition can change fish, and so I understand the importance of it to our ecosystem and how it's something that we should really take care of and use smart agricultural technologies and practices in. So, for our first focus area, we have smart water management and aquatic ecosystems. So the question is what is smart water management? Smart water management is using technologies to monitor and manage the water, that we have available as resources. And this could be monitoring water temperature, oxygen levels, nutrient runoff, algae growth, water clarity, depth, etc. This list can go on and on. And why this matters is because for ecosystems and specifically fish, they have temperatures that they thrive in, and if you get outside of that range, it can be dangerous. Not only this, but they have to have a certain amount of oxygen, and this is a dissolved oxygen content. They have to have a certain amount of dissolved oxygen to be able to survive, and that's within the water. As long as other things like habitat structure, they can't produce eggs. Fish can't produce eggs if there's nothing on the bank for them to spawn on. And so that's why um, monitoring the water matters in terms of keeping fish healthy and happy and making sure our ecosystems stay in check. We can see this in the real world. Specifically, it's a big problem down in Florida. We have a huge natural lake in Florida called Okeechobee, and it receives a lot of runoff from farms and other agricultural practices in the area, and it's really, really, really bad for the water conditions. And so they have to do something to fix that, and that's where smart agriculture can come into play. So agricultural runoff directly affects lakes and rivers. And with Florida, I use the example of Lake Okeechobee. Smart ag systems help reduce nutrient pollution by precision fertilizer, precision fertilizer application, monitoring runoff patterns, as well as managing irrigation more efficiently. Uh, if we can get these things under control and use agricultural practices to monitor them, we can protect our natural resources. So these are some examples of smart agriculture technology and technologies impacting bass fishing. And so we use a lot of sonars and real-time data, and these tell us the temperature, oxygen, depth, and we can even tell, I mean, you can use your eyeballs to tell, but you can even tell how clear the water is based off of the graininess in the return of the sonar on your graphs. And these graphs allow us to see and predict fish behavior. So, my second example in focus area that I want to talk about is going to be AI and predictive modeling. And this specifically goes into sustaining ecosystems and water quality. So we can use AI as a predictive tool, and we can do this with anything, but we can specifically use it for water. And so AI models can predict algae blooms, they can predict water quality changes, they can predict um, seasonal changes, seasonal habits, whether that's habits with fish or even habits with the body of water in general. And maybe tide habits, moon phases affect all this, everything, including even agricultural changes. And so all of these can help predict ecosystem successes or ecosystem collapses. And these are tools that we can use to help monitor water quality and ecosystems as a whole. And more specifically, in my realm, we can use this to predict fish habitat. So we can use information like water temperature and time of year and depth and clarity and outside conditions to predict where the bass will live. There's actually been a piece of technology for a long time, and it comes with a mapping chip. And what this technology does is it allows you to enter in um, a bunch of different like what is the water condition, what is the time of day, what is the season, um, and then you enter in this big old list of data, and it shows you on the map the best places to go fishing. Like if you've never been to a body of water before, so um, we've had predictive tools in fishing for quite a while now, and a lot of people don't realize that, but there's been AI that is helping us predict things for a long time. So, specifically for agriculture, we can use smart ag to um, we can use smart ag to reduce excess fertilizer use. We can predict things better for our usages. Like if we use way too much fertilizer in Florida, we're going to get a lot of runoff. And especially with Florida, they get a lot of rain, you get a lot of runoff. And if you're overusing fertilizer, a lot of that's going to end up in the lakes and the waters. And Florida's a very delicate ecosystem, and we don't want to collapse that. So it's important to know who would use these technologies and how. So the people who would use these technologies is environmental scientists, fish biologists, water resource managers, state wildlife biologists, even fish farmers, and people like me, just regular fishermen. So really anybody involved in the fishing realm in general can use these technologies and these technologies there's smart ag technologies for every realm of agriculture. I'm just specifically talking about the ones in the realm that I know the best, and how they're used. So we can use these tools to monitor water quality. We can use them as predictive AI tools, and we can even use them to give us general information about a body of water. Like if I'm going to a body of water that I've never been to before, the first thing I'm doing is looking up general information about it, and I'm using AI to tell me um, lake breakdowns, stuff like that. And this, I feel like personally relates to, I'm taking a course at A&M, ALEC 640, and this relates to the course material I've been learning there. And a lot of it is in class, we're talking about AI and also agricultural innovations. And these are technologies that haven't always existed. These are technologies that have been developed over time. Somebody saw a need for these technologies and developed them. That's like somebody thought, oh, wow, we need predictive AI for fish habitats in mapping ships that we're going to sell. And they did this 10 years ago. These aren't new technologies, but this is something that had to be developed. And my class is done a good job talking about that. Um, for the future of smart agriculture, it's going to continue to develop. We're never going to stop. We're going to have more people. We're going to have to feed more people. More people requires more water. We're going to have to make sure we have clean drinking water and access to clean water, not only for Americans but all people. And technologies are going to continue to develop and continue to grow, and it's important that we take care of them and take care of the technologies we have now and further develop them for the future. And not only will this lead to cleaner water, but also healthier bass. Um, Smart agriculture isn't just about crops, like I mentioned before. It's about all agriculture, not just crops, not just cattle, but also water and about fish. And people forget that sometimes. And water management is a critical part of smart agriculture. Water is an important factor in life, and we have to realize that and and protect water and continue to develop the agricultural technologies that allow us to monitor it to make sure that it's safe. I appreciate everybody that's tuning in to watch this, and I want to thank my professor of ALEC 640 for providing me a really great semester. Anyways, y'all have a great day. Maybe I'll see you out on the water. Peace.